issues, among them the Statute Law, Miscellaneous Amendments, number 2, Bill, National Assembly Bill number 48 of 2016. That bill will be debated in the Committee of the Whole House. Now, the Statute Law, Miscellaneous Amendments, number 2 Bill of 2016 is in keeping with the practice of making minor amendments which do not merit the publication of separate bills and consolidating them into one bill. The bill has proposals for amendments to some statutes within the law, such as the Betting, Lotteries and Gaming Act, Cap 131, where the bill proposes to amend the Act to harmonize the terms applied therein with the Constitution. It is also proposed to clarify the role of the chairman of the board and the director of betting vis-a-vis the board. It also seeks to limit the periods of board membership to 2 terms of 3 years. Other proposals are to raise the fees and fines payable under the Act. So that is an example of the statute that the amendment seeks to affect. And also there will be a motion which will be debated. Of course, the debate on that was interrupted on May 30th, and the motion is on election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly, also known as EALA. That pursuant to Article 50 of the Treaty for the Establishment of the East African Community and Rule 13, Paragraph 5 of the East African Legislative Assembly elections, or election of members of the Assembly Rules 2017, this House adopts the report of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee, May 17, 2017. This motion has been partly debated, and the debate on it has not been concluded, and there will be a notice, or a notice is going to be given, that the member for Wundanyi, the Honorable Thomas Mwadegu, intends to move some amendments to the report of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on the election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly, on its consideration of the nominees for election as members of the East African Legislative Assembly, that the motion be amended by inserting the following words immediately after the word 2017, and these words include, subject to the deletion of recommendations 3, 5, 6, and 7 appearing on page 16 and 17 of the report. The Senate did adopt the report on May 25th, 2017 without amendments. That is the latest so far with regards to that report by the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on elections of members to the East African Legislative Assembly. If you are just tuning in, the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Joyce Laboso, is currently walking in, and I will now hand you over so that you can follow the proceedings.
Support and trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberations in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. Can we have the quorum bell rung, please?
Among the amendments that the Honourable Member, Honourable Thomas Modegu, wants to make to the report by the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on the election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly include the deletion of some recommendations which were made by that committee, and the recommendations include that in line with the decision of the East African Court of Justice in reference number 1 of 2006, Professor Peter Nyang' Nyong'o and others, and the Attorney General and others, the Court Coalition, which had submitted the names of 5 nominees, submit the names of a total of 12 nominees. That is an additional 7 nominees from the list of 41 applicants submitted to the leaders of the coalition by the letter dated 5th May 2017 from the presiding officers. That is a recommendation of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee on the election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly. And that recommendation, the Honourable Thomas Modegu wants it deleted because CORD insists that as per the law, they have done what is required, and that is forwarding of names to names of nominees to the East African Legislative Assembly. There is also another recommendation which the Honourable Member wants deleted, and that recommendation states that the presiding officers appoint a new nomination day to receive and process further nominations from the CORD Coalition. Another recommendation that the Honourable Member wants deleted from the report is that on the conclusion of the further nominations, the presiding officers forward the list of the further nominees of the CORD Coalition to the Joint Committee for consideration in accordance with Rule 13. And finally, that the speakers of both houses of Parliament make a determination under Rule 25, extending the timelines required under the rules in order to enable the process recommend to be undertaken, and further extending the latest date for the holding of the election to a date not later than 4th of June 2017. That is a recommendation of the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee that CORD feels should not be, and it is seeking to amend the report. And one other recommendation, this one CORD has not expressed its objection to it, though, that the entitlements of slots for election to IALA are as follows. 1, the Jubilee Coalition is expected to elect 5 members, the CORD Coalition 4 members, and the independent candidates 0.086 nominees being nil. That makes a total of 9 members who are to be elected to the East African Legislative Assembly. Another recommendation by that committee is that for the future, the rules be amended so as to make clear and unequivocal provisions on the matter of the requirements for the nomination and election of independent candidates in light of Article 99, Paragraph 1C of the Constitution. And another recommendation is that for future, Rule 6.1 of the rules be amended to require parties to submit 3 times the number of persons they are entitled to nominate under the rules. So those are some of the recommendations which have been forwarded by the Joint Parliamentary Select Committee, to which the Honourable Member Thomas Modegu will be moving to have amendments done, because the Honourable Member is a member of the CORD Coalition, and the argument is that CORD has played its role by forwarding names which they think should stand. But the committee once called to, instead of forwarding phonemes, they ought to forward 3 times that, which comes to 12. In the order of business this afternoon is the Companies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2017. This bill is supposed to be read for the second time. The principal object of this bill is to amend the Companies Act of 2015 to ensure that it conforms to other laws, global trends, and best practices. This bill is not only meant to improve provisions on the extent of directors' liabilities, extent of directors' disclosure, and shareholders' remedies in the case of a dispute to further protect investors, but also ensure ease of doing business, protect minority investors, and clarify the ambiguities in the Act. Clause 2 of the bill proposes to amend Section 3 of the Act by redefining particular terms as consequential amendments and inserting new definitions of terms which are used in the Act but are not defined. Clause 3 of the bill proposes to amend Section 27, paragraph 2H of the Act to substitute the term old public with a private to factor in the concept of conversion from public to private and vice versa as envisioned by the Act. That is the Companies Amendment Bill of 2017, which will be read for the second time according to the order of business. The Parliamentary Services Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2017, will also be read for the second time. Now, the bill seeks to repeal and reenact the Parliamentary Services Act number 10 of 2000 for some reasons. First, the Parliamentary Service Act was enacted under the former Constitution, and the Act was therefore enacted to give effect to the provisions of Section 45A and 45B of the the former Constitution, which established the Parliamentary Service and the Parliamentary Service Commission respectively. These provisions of the Constitution are no longer in force. In their place is Article 127 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, which establishes a Parliamentary Service Commission, and Article 128 of the Constitution, which provides for the offices of the clerks of the Houses of Parliament and the offices of members of staff of the clerks as offices in the parliamentary service. In light of this and other changes in the constitutional regime, it has become necessary to review the Parliamentary Service Act in order to ensure that it complies with the provisions of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. If you're just joining us, we are still waiting for the quorum to be achieved, and members are walking in. We can see the Honorable Member Thomas Mwadegu, Member of Parliament Wundanyi, whipping his members to at least come into the chamber so that business can start. That quorum has been achieved. Now I will hand you over so that you can follow these proceedings. This broadcast is brought to you by PBU in conjunction with KBC.
Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
We have some papers to be laid.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, May 31st, 2017. The report of the Departmental Committee on Environment and Natural Resources on the petition by the residents of Kajiado North constituency regarding the closure and relocation of Ngong Dam site.
Okay, we also have another paper by the Committee on Health. Yes, Vice Chair.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, May 31st, 2017. Report of the Departmental Committee on Health on petitions 1 by the Children's Sickle Cell Foundation of Kenya on enactment of legislation on prevention, control, and management of sickle cell anemia, and 2 on the violation of the Nutritionists and Dietitians Act and amendment to the Nutritionists and Dietitians Act 2007. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. And also the chair of CDF. You have a report to...
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on the table of the House today the National Government Constituencies Development Fund Board constituency allocation, Madam Speaker, for the financial year, Madam Speaker, 2017-2018. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay that allocation list for all the constituencies for the financial year 2017-2018. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements.
Okay. The Honorable Ishungwa, you have a statement. I'm informed. Kimani Ishungwa, you have a statement. We are at that order now.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I was consulting with the chair of the Security Committee. Honorable Speaker, Article 94 of the Constitution on the role of Parliament vests the legislative authority to Parliament in this Republic. And indeed, Section 5 of the article states that no person other or body other than Parliament has the power to make provision having the force of law in Kenya except under authority conferred by this Constitution. The House has, through the standing orders, established mechanisms for the disposal of statutory instruments and thus allowing for their implementation. However, Honorable Speaker, the country is currently being faced with a disturbing scenario in the construction and home ownership sector, and the ERC, that is the Energy Regulatory Commission, through statements in the press, I think in the print media yesterday, which has been widely circulated, have given ultimatums to owners and occupiers of domestic residential premises, educational, health institutions, as well as restaurants, to ensure the installation of solar water heating systems. This is apparently on the grounds of powers bestowed to the Commission by the Solar Water Heating Regulations of 2012. However, Honorable Speaker, I have established that these regulations have never been presented to this House for consideration as required by law. It would therefore be an upfront, not only on the authority of Parliament to purport to implement a regulation with the force of law without having the necessary approval of Parliament, but it also beats logic why a government agency like ERC would implement an obviously illegal regulation. And it begs the question on whose behalf the Commission may be acting or purporting even to enforce regulations that they purport to have the force of law without the approval of this House. Madam Speaker, it is my humble request that you direct the relevant committee, that is the Committee on Delegated Legislation, to urgently look into this matter. Without that, Honorable Speaker, Parliament would be abrogating its duty to defending the interests of the people we represent. And Madam Speaker, I must declare my interest in this matter because I am a landlord. I'm also a homeowner. And therefore, Madam Speaker, anybody purporting to come and implement such regulations would be directly affecting a lot of homeowners, hotel owners, and not just homeowners and landlords, Madam Speaker, but even schools, educational institutions, our hospitals, because they are saying without those water heating solar systems, even in our schools. And the fines they are proposing, Madam Speaker, are very punitive. It's a fine of 1 million shillings and a jail term of up to a year or both. Therefore, Madam Speaker, I would beg that you do give the appropriate directions to the relevant House committee. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay. I think that the Committee on Delegated Legislation just needs to take up that matter urgently, as it seems to be an urgent matter. Before we proceed to order number 8, I want to recognize the presence in the public gallery of a delegation from PCEA Church in Tena area, Embakasi West constituency, Nairobi County. You are welcome in the National Assembly. We also have in the same public gallery, Red Rose Primary School, Kibra constituency, Nairobi County. You are welcome in the National Assembly to partake of our proceedings. The Honorable Gikaria, you seem to be, what is not in order?
Madam Speaker, I just want, 2 months ago, when you were seated there as a substantive speaker, I had brought, now it's almost 2 years, a petition regarding a primary school land that had been grabbed. And the petition by the Committee on Lands, and you had given directive. Now, 2 months down the line, we don't have a report to date. I don't know what to, and you had directed that the report be brought before the House, because it's expired, the 60 days expired a long, long time ago. That is one thing, and you had directed that the report be tabled on the floor of the House so that we could know. That school is missing out from a lot of CDF contribution, and the school is really suffering. So we wanted the committee to make so that we could be able now to take the next step to try and acquire a title to it. And secondly, Madam Speaker, it's, and this may be not for you, but maybe the Parliamentary Service Commission. For the last 1.5 weeks, we have seen some young men and women lining going towards our county hall. And for purposes, I think, of application for the employment, I think the Parliamentary Service Commission needs to be a little bit humane. You know, these boys are lining up for over 6 hours, 7 hours, the whole day. So I think it's a bad precedence, it's a bad face for Parliament to see people queuing, and actually sometimes, even now, they are also affecting the flow of traffic around that place. I'm not saying, but the main problem is the hours of their standing, waiting to be attended. I thought maybe the Parliamentary Service Commission needed to be more humane in future and maybe invite them in a place so that they can be able. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think that is really a good observation, and I hope Parliamentary Service Commission is listening and is going to do something about these queues on land. Yes. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It is true that Honorable Karia's petition has been pending before the committee, but Madam Speaker, the committee has dispensed with the matter. A report has been written, and it's awaiting the Speaker's approval for tabling. So maybe by next week, if the Speaker approves, it shall be tabled among other petitions, because currently the committee has almost 10 reports that are waiting approval so that they can be tabled. Thank you.
Okay, so at least you've heard something has been done. It's only waiting for the approval. But I guess those long queues that you're seeing really is a reflection of what is happening in our country and the high level of unemployment. So, you know, even us as legislators, these are some of the things that we are grappling with in even our seats, be coming back or not coming back to the seat. So members, we want to move to the next order.
Order number 8, Committee of the Whole House.
Honorable Majority Leader, is it Majority Leader? Order, Jepkonga and Majority Leader. The order is on you now.
Yeah, which order? Order number 8. Yeah, sorry, I was talking to Honorable Ichungwa. He has many things. Madam Speaker, we have received some more amendments from both the committee and the State Law Office, and we want to defer this small statute law amendment bill, with your permission, to maybe Tuesday next week.
Okay, that's okay. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, election of members to the East African Legislative Assembly.
Okay, members, I want to give an opportunity to the mover. It had been moved but and seconded, but before we... Yes, debate was ongoing, and there was an amendment by the Honorable Mwadegu. I want you to... Yes, you have something on your amendment.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I had just moved, and while it was being seconded, the issue of quorum was raised. And, Madam Speaker, after due consultation among ourselves, and taking into consideration that the Senate did pass this report without amendments, I wish to withdraw the amendment because it's not still the property of the House, under Standing Order number 51, and read together with the Standing Order number 54. Madam Speaker, having consulted, it is apparent that I didn't have to consult the majority leader because he assumed the powers of the other member of parliament, the chair, and the chair has come back, has resumed his position. So, Madam Speaker, the reason why I feel I should withdraw this amendment is that if it goes through, having been passed without any amendment by the Senate, the implications are obvious that we will have to wait for the next 6 months before this motion can be brought to this House. In that regard, it's my humble request to my colleagues that they take our decision, and my decision as the whip, to withdraw my amendment in good taste and in good faith. It has no other implications, so that we can move forward, that by next week we can have the names, and that the names can be debated, and the voting can go on, so that we don't stop the matter in the East Africa Legislative Assembly.
Okay,
Madam Speaker,
your amendment.
I withdraw.
You have withdrawn? Yes, Chepkonga, Honorable Chepkonga. And members, if you could stay in the room, maybe we can dispense of this matter quickly.
Madam Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 83.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, his amendment, he moved it, it was seconded, so it became the property of the House.
But no question. We had not put the question.
It was not seconded. It was not.
It was not.
It was not seconded.
We had not even proposed the
Madam
question.
Speaker,
Yeah.
Madam Speaker, I can only take direction from you, not
Yes,
from,
okay.
not from
Members,
the member
I can give you
for
direction.
Kiminini.
Because
Not
I
from
was the
member
one,
for Kiminini. Cannot arrogate himself the powers of the Speaker when the Speaker is still sitting here. We know, Madam Speaker, that you are running for governorship, but you have not left.
No, I'm
so
here.
The powers have not been delegated to the member of Kiminini.
Those powers are still with me.
They are solely still with you. But Madam Speaker, so I am guided if you tell me that the question had not been put.
No, not even proposed.
Okay.
Yes, a quorum was called before the proposal even of me proposing the question. So it's quite in order for you to withdraw. There is no damage done, and the standing orders have been followed. Yes. So members, can we then proceed? Just to give some 2 or so members, and then we need to dispense of this matter, members. Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, as I contribute to the election of the members to Yala, it has taken the leadership of the Court Coalition to read the law and waste a lot of time of the House to come and withdraw an amendment. The law, Rule 6, is very clear. If you have 3 nominees, you bring 9. If you have 4, you bring 12. Who represented Kenya in this case when Anyang' Nyong'o filed it was a member of the committee. But you know, my good friend, who's aspiring to be the governor of Taveta, just listens to only one man. He doesn't read the law. He only listens to Baba. Listen to Baba. I also listen to President Uhuru Kenyatta. But I also read and tell him, Mr. President, this is not the right law. But you know, you came here in the morning, you say, Baba sent me. You come back in the afternoon, you say, Baba sent me. My friend, at that rate, then you'll not go to heaven. At that rate. And if it is about loyalty to Baba, some of us were more loyal to Baba in 2007. Madam Speaker, we have wasted time. And Madam Speaker, I asked the Speaker that when we change the rules, and this House approved the rules, and the rules were gazetted, the last day for the election of Iala was to be held between 23rd and 25th. So as we sit here, the deadline for the election was on 25th of May 2017. So even if we approve this report as per the Senate, the committee must go back, must sit, must go and gazette a new date. Number 2, Madam Speaker, and more fundamentally, the same committee, in the timelines that they have approved and gazetted and signed by the 2 presiding officers, the last day for the timelines is 2nd of June, which is on Friday, and is not a sitting of the House. So even if you withdraw your amendment at this hour, you are still in high seas. You are in the middle of the sea with no lifesaver. And I don't foresee, with the deadline of the 15th we have. So even if we pass this report, the committee has to go back and sit. The committee of Honorable Chepkonga, Honorable Kato, I think Honorable Manzo, Honorable Wamunyinyi, Honorable Mutula Jr., and Murkomen have to go and sit and gazette new rules, timelines, and dates. So, my brother, you'll still go back to Baba because you created Maki. You didn't read the law. So you're withdrawing at a time when it's not helping anybody. Day one, we said, let Code Coalition bring 9 names. By now, we could have voted because we have 27 members. 27 members of parliament or who are applicants who applied for Yala. You know, I'm on the floor. We are not in a primary school until the speaker gives you the chance. And so we need to have 27 members. 58 members applied for the Jubilee slots. We selected 15. 48 members applied for the 4 slots of the Code Coalition. We expected 12 members. Then these members who are the constituents, the voters, and the chamber is the polling station, and the clerk is the returning officer, were supposed to select 9 members from the 27 members. And once we select the 9 members from the 27 members, then those 9 members will represent the Republic of Kenya and by extension, the Parliament of Kenya in the East African Legislative Assembly. And in that 9 members, the House must look at the regional balance, must look at the gender balance. But Madam Speaker, we were here. We have wasted 3 weeks. You know, lack of quorum because of numbers. And I really want to see that now that my good friend, Honorable Madego, has withdrawn the amendment, let us spend less time. We approve because I asked the Speaker yesterday, if the Senate has approved the report and the House could have amended the same report, the outcome could have been the collapse of the whole process. That is the reading. Because there could have been no mediation. Because there was no mediation anticipated in where the two houses differ on a report of a committee. It's different from when it is a bill. So, Madam Speaker, I really want to thank Honorable Mandegu, my very good friend. You know, he's a very good Catholic. He's a man of God. But he decided not to speak to God. You know, when you are faced with a serious problem, you hold the Bible, you hold the Quran, and then God guides you on the right path. But he decided to listen to Baba alone. And you know, Baba is a human being. Baba is a human being. Uhuru Kenyatta is a human being. So,
Madam Speaker, is Honorable Duale in order to impute ill motive on my part and to mislead this House that we wasted the time here when he himself stood up to say there was no quorum and he walked out, and with a lot of impunity, Madam Speaker, you did not take any steps against him. That was impunity, Madam Speaker.
Why don't we?
Okay. No, you had finished.
What's your point of order, Millie Odhiambo? Please, let's not...
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would want to request the majority leader to declare his interest in this matter, because we've been told that he's delaying this report because he has an interest, because he knows he's likely not to come back to Parliament. Can he declare his interest in this matter, Madam Speaker?
Honorable members, none of us knows who is going to come back and who is not going to come back. Members, just ignore it, majority leader. Ignore that comment.
Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, you know, Millie Odhiambo is the one who burnt her house to get ODM certificate. She burnt her own house to get ODM certificate. So I cannot talk to her. Let me address the good point of order by my friend, because I will never burn my house, and I am coming back as a leader of majority. Relax. You don't need to burn your house and kill your bodyguard. Madam Speaker, maybe. Okay. Madam Speaker, so I think now we have agreed in principle. We have agreed with the leader. I think we have agreed with the leader. I think now the debate is good. We will agree with the Senate, and I am sure we are happy. And let's elect 27 members. Put the question. We move forward. We do the election.
Yeah, members, I think you all know. Order, members. Order, Millie, order. It has been expunged. It's been expunged. Okay, Millie. Okay, Millie, you have been heard. You have been heard. Yes. Okay. Honorable
Give me the mic.
You have
Thank
the
you,
mic.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this matter, it seems, has been resolved. We are just
Yes.
repeating ourselves, and time is not on our side. In line with our standing orders, Madam Speaker, may I call the mover to respond so that we move on, Madam Speaker? I thank you.
Is that the feeling of the members that we call the mover to respond? Yes. Okay, so the mover, the Honorable Olemetito.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in replying, I just want to plead with the members that we put the interests of the East African community first, and we try to ensure that because even if we were to do the voting the earliest time possible, Tuesday next week, this partner state, Kenya, is going to be led by a day or two, because the East African Legislative Assembly is going to be sworn in on Monday, next week on 5th. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, if there is a way we could do as this House to fast-track the process, we better do it, and I beg to reply.
Mwadegu, the Honorable Mwadegu, just come to. Honorable members, I want to defer putting the question just for about 15 minutes for us to be properly constituted. And in the meantime, we can move to the next order as we sort out that. Yes. Yes, members. No.
We will not interrupt this business once we start. So the best thing is to ring the bell.
Okay, we ring. Okay. Okay, I think members, it is in the members' interest that we ring the bell instead of moving to the next order. So please, all members, just don't move. I've ordered the Order, members. After confirming that we are sufficient in number, say nay. The ayes have it.
Order number 10, the Companies Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 23 of 2017, second reading.
Majority Leader?
Honorable Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the Companies Amendment Bill 2017 be read a second time. Madam Speaker, the Companies Amendment Bill 2017...
Order, members. Those members proceeding out of the chamber, please do it quietly. We need to hear the Majority Leader.
Honorable Madam Speaker, the Companies Amendment Bill 2017 seeks to amend the Companies Act 2015 in order to improve on the operationalization of this act. This is a very important act which was passed in 2015. It's one of the milestones of the Jubilee administration, because since independence, this piece of legislation was not in place. But now, 6 months later and 1 year later, for it to ease the operationalization of this act, the Office of the Attorney General and the stakeholders felt that they need to bring some amendment to some minimal sections of that law. And Madam Speaker, Kenya is part of the global market, and in order to attract investment, it is imperative that the laws relating to Companies Bill 2017 is not only meant to improve provisions on the extent of the director's liabilities or the extent of I know you want to raise quorum. I mean, yeah, you want to raise quorum. Yeah, no, I'm seeing what you want to do is just to raise quorum. You can as well raise quorum. Yeah, why do you want to raise quorum? We want to debate.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yeah, it's fine.
Madam Speaker, the bill being moved by the leader of majority is a very important one to the citizens of this country. And we cannot afford to have it moved and discussed here, Madam Speaker, when we don't have sufficient quorum. Madam Speaker, I want to bring to attention of the House that we don't have quorum.
We don't have a quorum. I have established that we don't have quorum, so let's have the division bell rang.
Sasa hii kora mnauliza, you want to go home, eh?